robbery to come and stand with Miss Henrietta, because she, more than anybody, knows the journey that she and her family are going to have to go through to get justice. And so let it be clear today that we know something happened here that is more than they are telling us, because the Wake County District Attorney, right, Bakari and Don Blakegrove, dismissed 180 cases involving this trooper, Macario, if that's his name, Macario, who was involved in the death of Tyrone Mason. They would not have dismissed those cases if there were not something on that video from the dash cam and from the body cam that was just god-awful. They don't just drop cases like that. The people in Raleigh know that the DA don't just drop cases like that, but they drop those cases because there's something on that video. And Attorney Sellers, I have to believe that the evidence to make the case is on the video from the chase. I'll say that again. The evidence needed to make this case is on the video from the car chase. We know that it was a lie from day one when they told her her son died as a result of a single car accident. And when she initially asked the police, was there a chase? I mean, what do you mean? And they said, no chase. Well, through her efforts, and she should be applauded. Attorney Sellers, Attorney Cecil talked so much about this mother, this beautiful, strong black mother who would not let them sweep her son's death under the rug. She kept fighting every day. She made desperate pleas to Attorney Sellers and Attorney Cecil. Yeah, I need help. But she, more than anybody else, got the train started to justice. And you're gonna hear Attorney Sellers in just a minute tell you about that. But it was so evident that they were ready to live with this lie, sweep it under the rug, and nothing else was gonna happen. Another black man dead. Don't even worry about writing anything in your newspapers or reporting it on the news. Well, thank God that he was with this mother and ordered her steps to where she could get to the truth. And so what we're here today is to demand transparency. Demand transparency. You don't need to say no more. Just show the video. That's all we need. And so a person who's been working on this case along with Attorney Cecil and Ms. Henrietta, and I give him just so much credit for being busy but still having time to fight for the least of these. Attorney Cecil and Attorney Sellers are going to talk to you about the yeoman's effort that have been going on for the last months to get to just this point. We still ain't got to the ultimate truth yet, because when we get to the ultimate truth, we all gonna see it together on that video. But Bakari, thank you. I know you're covering a lot with CNN and you're doing a lot all around the country. Your brilliance, your tenacity, and your courage, thank you for bringing it here to Raleigh to join in this team effort to get justice for Tyrone Mason. Justice for Tyrone Mason.
Listen, I have been involved in civil rights cases around the country, and I have not seen acts of just pure disregard. I have not seen acts of cover-up. I have not seen just blatant lies that have occurred. When I heard about this case, something didn't sit right with me, and I went and sat in the living room, and Sanchez was there, and Ms. Mason, and her family is just amazing. They come together in a unique way that a lot of black families come together. Before, as I was sitting talking to them, I had one on one phone, one on the other phone, one on the couch, and Ms. Mason on the couch as well, and they wanted to get to know me and make sure that we were all fighting for justice on the same page. And there's something that you all need to know. That when she got that knock on the door, the Raleigh Police Department told her that it was a single car crash and that there were no witnesses. And so what I'm asking today is that I want my good friend Jeff Jackson, I want my good friend Governor Stein to actually open their eyes and pay attention to what's going on with their state highway patrol. Because as we're digging, we're understanding that it's just not about Tyrone Mason, that this actually is a culture. And I actually want the media to do something that is challenging, but I want you to do your job. And the reason that's challenging is because there are videos out there that they don't want the public to see, that you all now have to join with your lawyers and get in court and fight like hell to make sure that North Carolina sees what happened to Tyrone Mason. And so that is going to be the next struggle. And you know what's most amazing about it is that John Stein and Jeff Jackson could simply say today that we're going to release those videos. That's right. They can make sure that these officers are held to account. They can make sure that these officers are arrested. They can make sure that these officers are fired. They can actually do examinations throughout the department of their policies and procedures. They can do those things today because you know what? They have seen those videos. If I was governor or attorney general of the state of North Carolina, you know what I would ask for today sitting in my office? I would ask for the videos of what happened that night to Tyrone Mason. If I was in the media right now, I would call the office and the communications director and I would ask them, has the governor and attorney general, have they seen these videos? How on earth do you drop 180 cases and we're just supposed to turn a blind eye? Now, let me tell you this. I don't know if Mr. Cecil wants to say anything, but he has been an amazing lawyer throughout this case. Sean Cecil has fought for this family when nobody else was there. Amen. She has knocked on doors when we were walking around the corner. She said, this is one of the buildings I knocked on the door in front of. She has gone to the district attorney. She's gone to the police department. She's gone to the legislature. She's gone everywhere, but no one was listening, but something told us in our spirit that it wasn't just right. And when I called Sean Cecil, I said, me and Ben are coming. He said, I'm glad somebody's coming to pay attention to it. I said, no, Miss Mason wants you to work on it too. We're going to build this super team. Yeah. And I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day, but we are going to take on this structure that looks at black lives and simply disregards us until they want our votes.
That part.
That's right.
That part.
Right? So this is a challenge. We just got through inauguration in January and everybody's getting comfortable in their offices. But now is the challenge and the time where now we're asking for something in return. Simply things like accountability and transparency.
Amen.
And we're asking for justice. We're going to turn it over to Ms. Mason. I don't know if Sean wants to say anything, but the last thing that I will tell you is, the last thing that I will say is that there's been no mother that I've ever seen in my life who, there will be no question, as I told her, did she love her son? There will be no question that his siblings love their brother, because she's had to do so much that I pray for her every day. My last conversation with her was to make sure that you're getting some sleep and make sure you eat, because she's been up sleepless nights trying to make sure that the name of Tyrone Mason does not die in vain. With that, we'll turn it over to Sean and Ms. Mason to say a few things, and then we'll take a few questions because it's cold here in North Carolina.
Thank you, Bakari. I'm Sean Cecil. I can testify to the strength of this woman, and I can thank the Lord that I was there to answer the phone when she called me. And I was busy, and we had work to do, but her story, her strength, her resilience, the questions that were involved, her pain, were compelling to me. So I'm very happy that we have Bakari, Ben here to help her in the way that she needs to get help. And we're going to find justice for Tyrone. We're going to find justice for Henrietta Mason.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go, Mom.
Justice for Tyrone.
Justice for Tyrone.
Yes.
My name is Henrietta Mason. I am the mother of Tyrone Mason. I watched my baby born into this world. I never thought that my baby would leave this world before me. And I love my baby. My baby leaves behind five kids. One is in heaven with him, and 4 beautiful kids here on this earth that miss their daddy. He got a fleet, got all his brothers that love him, and sisters, a whole fleet of friends and family. And all that we ask is that everyone come together and get justice for my son, Tyrone Mason.
Justice for Tyrone Mason.
Justice for Tyrone Mason. Justice for Tyrone Mason.
We'll take questions now. Just a few questions. There's certain things. Did you want to say anything, or any other brothers?
My name is Sanchez Knowles. I just wanted to say Tyrone, he's going to truly be missed. He was a great father, a great son, and a great brother. He was my best friend. And I think about him every day since it's happened. From day one, all we wanted was answers. And hopefully we get them. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Anybody else? We're going to take a couple of questions, just a few questions. Ms. Mason is here to answer what we can answer, and we'll go from there. Yes, ma'am. I just felt like you had a question over here.
So what's next for this? Have you guys filed anything with the courts to release the video?
Look, what I would say is that what's next is that my firm, the Strom Law Firm in Columbia, South Carolina, the Crump Law Firm, Cecil Law Firm, are going to file a lawsuit in the coming days, and we're going to litigate it in court. I will tell you that we know video exists, but I will tell you that this is really the job of the media to go get that video, impress elected officials to release that video, because they got it, and everybody should see what's on it. That's about the extent I can say on that, right, Sean?
I know you're an expert on getting videos released from
Yeah.
This is Don Blake Grove.
You already know
NC Emancipation.
The only thing I want to add is that those local media, the local media here, you know District Attorney Lorrin Freeman.
That's right.
You know the way that she protects law enforcement. Right. You know that she has a deep aversion to holding law enforcement accountable in any way imaginable. So the fact that she has dismissed 180 some odd cases because of a lack of credibility around a law enforcement officer should give everyone standing here great pause. We have seen District Attorney Freeman ignore law enforcement officers who have killed people. We have seen her ignore them tasing folks to death. We have seen her ignore law enforcement behavior here in this county for no-knock warrants, any number of things. She has never felt the need to hold any law enforcement officer truly accountable within Wake County. So for her to dismiss 181 cases means that something egregious happened in this case.
That's right.
And none of us should stop until we know exactly what that is
That is correct.
Amen.
and exactly how deep and how far that corruption,
That's right.
that lack of credibility, and that malfeasance goes.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Yes.
Who was the first person to know that the cop's story didn't add up, and that something?
I can answer that question, sir. From day one, when they came to me and told me that my son died in a single car accident with no witnesses, I told them that is not true. My son is terrified of the sirens of official officer. So when they told me that, I immediately told them day one, no, someone on the force had to have been chasing my son, whether it's state trooper, police, or sheriff, I don't know. But I know someone was chasing my son. And when they told me that it was a state trooper that drove up and found my son, I said he did it. Day one.
And Bakari, maybe you and Sean can go into detail about how she had to
Sean.
dig to get the fact that there was a video and those things.
It's a long story. It's a compelling timeline of resilience and strength by Miss Henrietta. She knocked on a lot of doors. She went to all the agencies. And when she called me,
Hundreds of emails, she said.
sent hundreds of emails. A month had passed before she called me, and we started digging. And unfortunately, when a lawyer's name is on that, when it comes from a lawyer's email, answers start happening. So it started with a public records request and find out who called this in. And then what do we do from there? And we have an investigation. A video does exist, a compelling video exists, and I will join Mr. Sellers and Mr. Crump in encouraging y'all, go get that video. Go get it.
Well, hello, Ms. Henrietta wants to say something for Carl.
I also want to add that Mr. Cecil helped me to get access to see the video of the state trooper. And it took us at least 3 weeks before they agreed for me to see it. The day that I was supposed to, needless to say, he did.
The timeline of this story is compelling, and it's your job to find it. We will be here to help you through the litigation process. Light will be shone on this, and we're going to get justice for Tyrone, for Henrietta Mason, and the people of North Carolina who deserve better.
I wanted to ask, you mentioned this being a broader cultural issue with the state patrol. What have you seen so far that's formed that?
Well, I'm aware of other cases just in research preparing for this, other cases where video exists, actually involving chases where aid was not rendered in certain cases here in North Carolina. We know about those cases. You all know about those cases. And so the question has to be asked from the top to the bottom about what their policies and procedures are about chases, etc., and what they're supposed to do on the scenes. But we have at least one other case that I'm aware of right now in our diligence where that occurred.
And I would say that's what was so compelling to me when Attorney Sellers called and he said, this is really, really bad, Ben. We can't let them sweep this under the rug. We gotta bring attention to this matter because it was business as usual. It was business, even with what they had done and discovered, it still was gonna be swept under the rug.
Questions?
Any involving these officers?
No, just state troopers.
Okay.
Just state troopers. And that's what I'm saying, that this is an issue, and what, as a parent, you never think you're gonna get a knock on the door. And you never think you're gonna be a part of this fraternity or sorority that these two ladies are a part of now, where your family member has been taken from you or you are burying a child. And so you have to look and see why this occurred. And we don't want their names to be in vain. And what we've realized is that in North Carolina, you have a problem with your North Carolina Highway Patrol. And we're going to have to fix that by using someone, and God uses us in a mysterious way.
Amen.
And I'm not sure that Tyrone ever thought that he would be something transformative within the law enforcement community in this great state. But we're going to make sure that we utilize Tyrone Mason to change, because if we don't, Ben, myself, Sean, we did not do our job. If we settle a case and leave, and we didn't change anything, and something happens to the next one, or the next one, or the next one, then we just ain't worth nothing. Civil rights don't mean nothing to us. One more question.
Was it the legal team who tipped off the FBI to start the whole investigation in December?
No, it was the mother, me.
Amen.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't take no credit for that.
I went to the DA's office and told them, I know y'all heard something that's wrong, but let me tell you the whole story. That what I think that's wrong.
And let me go,
I would say I would commend District Attorney Freeman for taking decisive action. It took a lot of work to get this to her attention, but once she found out about it, once she knew what was going on, she took decisive action with respect to the cases involving those troopers. And I think that's one of the reasons why y'all are here today, because that was news. and that was important. That's a big deal.
I also just want to say that we travel around the country, and a lot of these officer-involved shootings are usually investigated either internally or by a state agency. And from Andrew Brown to this case here, we do have faith that the SBI will do its job. Now, what happens when they turn that file over? I don't know. But they are going to investigate it thoroughly, and so my hats and props. I don't want anybody to think we just sitting up here railing. I want to say that the SBI is doing its job, and we want to see it done thoroughly. But we also think that the public, that any judge listening, the right to see these videos far exceeds any investigation going on right now. And the fact that I'm absolutely certain that the chief executive officer and the chief legal officer in this great state can allow those videos to be released is something that should be considered.
And I want to say this to go back to a point that cannot be overlooked. In this tragedy, it was Henrietta Mason, this strong black mother, who had to fight and claw for every inch of justice, just for people to pay attention. Just like with Tanika Shannon, when her son was shot going into a church and killed by an undercover police officer. And they tried to say it was his fault. And she had to fight and get every measure of justice. Because it's like Wanda Cooper, the mother of Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, nobody cares about these black children like they're black mothers. Right. And so we should be applauding them before we applaud anybody else for not accepting the lie.
Amen to that.
So thank you all.
We work for her.
Yeah. God bless you all.
If there are any other questions, Michael Wakila, who reached out to you all, will be in touch. We'll be in touch. We'll make sure that everybody has access to our filings. The last thing that I will say is that this family is going through a lot. He has a sister here, brothers here, children. I would ask that you keep them in your prayers, regardless of what you think about anything that we've said today. This is a very prayerful part of the country. I'm a very prayerful man, and I'm going to get on my knees tonight when I say my Now I Lamies and make sure that my twins, who are 6, because I know their prayers make it up. I don't know if Daddy's makes it all the way up. But I'm going to make sure they lift up Tyrone and Henrietta Mason and this family. So thank you, and God bless you all.